What's up, guys? This is Bulba the Fell-Handed. Now, I'm going to do something a little different as I attempt to diversify my channel. I'm going to do a little Skyrim. Now, normally, I always do a Nord named Bulba the Fell-Handed. No big surprise there. Or, occasionally, I'll do an Orc. Now, if I do any other races, they normally only last to level 2 or 3. Now, the reason I decided to do this series is because with all the advent of the mods here, it ended up messing up and killing my wife's game. So I said, you know what? If you start over, I'll start over. I'll do something I've never done, which means play another race all the way through. And that's exactly what we're going to do. The mods that you're going to see here very, very shortly, guys, are not going to be changed. The only one that I am adding in is, you'll see after the fact, after this game, I end up adding, I think it's called proper aiming. It goes with a third-person camera mod. When you change the distance you are from your character, your aiming is off as far as archery, and considering my guy is going to be an archer, that's kind of a big deal. Now, moving on. This is going to be no power leveling, no training, no cheat mods, nothing. Just 100% game. If you've never played Skyrim, this will more than likely motivate you to play it. And if you have played Skyrim, this is going to more than likely motivate you to go back and run through it again. So, without, dragging this on anymore, let's go right into this. Very first episode, I'm going to show you what mods I'm running. That way it'll kind of get you an idea what to run. I tend to only run some of the more stable mods. So let's get right into it. Skyrim patch, very, very important. This kind of covers a lot of things. If you really want to know everything, I highly recommend you go online, check it out. Alternate start, very, very cool. Lets you start out, variety of different things. They even have some race-specific starts. Very interesting. Shrouded armor. It makes the Dark Brotherhood look a bit more sexy, which is kind of what I like. I mean, it really adds a lot. Ars Metallica, this kind of changes up your smithing just a bit. In other words, you can kind of break things down and you get points for it, which is kind of how it should be. You get smithing points. So in other words, if you smelt material or if you break things down, you get points. Belt fasten quivers. These are kind of like a 90-degree off quiver, kind of what they were before, with a right-hand draw. Very, very awesome. I enjoy them. Rich Merchants of Skyrim. This gives all your Skyrim merchants, I think, about 10,000 gold. Now, guys, you're going to see some of my mods in here that are disabled. If you have mods and you're not using them, I highly recommend you disable, don't delete, because if you delete and they take them out of the system, then you're never going to get that mod again. Enchant all. This is fantastic. If you like mage characters, you can enchant anything on anything. Whatever you have, as far as your character goes, head, whatever, you can enchant different enchantments on that. I know I'm being like a little convoluted, but it is amazing. Dark Elf armor, very, very sexy, black and red, awesome. We're going to skip right past this here. I've got a couple of things here that are no longer with us. Better Vampires is fantastic, actually, if you are a fan of vampires. Bandoliers is really, really awesome. It gives you bags. It gives you, pouches, everything. The weight, I feel the weight is a little off. In other words, if you do like a side pouch, it'll give you plus 25, 50 weight, when I feel it should, be 5 or 10. But then again, if you do that, the usefulness of it is not really apparent. Knapsack backpacks. This is something kind of immersion, because, you're not really going to be tooling around without carrying your things with you. So, a lot of immersion. Weapons of the Third Era. You know, this has axes, katanas, nodachis, a variety of things, and it's very, very immersive. It just kind of puts it out there. And there's loads of weapon mods. I don't necessarily recommend putting in a lot of them at once. Black Mage Armor is literally one of my top 5 favorite mods. And it's not even necessarily for mages. It is amazing. I mean, there's so many pieces. If you're going for a mage and you want to min-max, meaning you want all the stuff you can enchant, definitely go for that, because it gives you stuff like headbands and masks and things you can stack. Now, this is House Carl Armor Pack. This is just a very amazing crafted set of armor. I mean, it looks really, really good. And it looks like it fits. You'll notice I have a lot of things disabled because they don't fit. They obviously look like they don't belong in Skyrim. So far we have this, and we have the Dark Brotherhood armor so far that I feel that it fits. I don't want anything to break my immersion. Cloaks and Capes, very, very good mod. Very simple. Just one little more thing here, one little thing of immersion, and it just makes it look really nice. Makes it look good on your character. Some armor, some clothes. It's going to have some clipping, so you know you kind of need to be aware of that. Horse armor. This gives you horse barding. I don't know as far as how much this increases your horse's HP. If anything, it looks amazing. Certain areas have, you know, steel, other ones have ebony, others have leather, so each different stable has different kind of horses. True Storms, really, really, really good mod. This is in my top 5 as well. You've got to get this. Really puts the storms out there. It makes them seem realistic. So realistic, my dog here, Zozo here, my little sweetie, runs and hides when it rains in-game. Quality world map. You know, you could use the regular map. They had this. I put it in there. It's very robust, meaning it doesn't affect anything. So I recommend you getting that one as well. Next up is more bandit armors. This kind of has cobbled together armors, something like bandits and marauders would actually have. There's a few out there that, you know, are lit up blue because the textures or the meshes or the collision file, something is missing. I'm very loath to update anything because most of the time I update something, it ends up colliding with something else. So I'm just throwing that out there. We're going to skip through a couple of things here. Open face helmets. Just another immersion thing. That way, you know, you get your ebony, you get your plate, the guards, what have you, have open face helmets. Looks really good. Highly recommend it. You know, whether you use it or not, whether you have an open face helmet or a helmet that would be closed, check it out. This is a good mod. I enjoy it. It only works for Whiterun, excuse me. It just has a bunch of stuff in the shops. It makes the shops look like shops. Not, you know, somebody just had a house and they managed to throw some stuff up. This is the best werewolf mod I have ever found. Just like the vampire one was the best vampire mod I had ever found. I can't even go into detail. If you like werewolves, check this out. If you like vampires, check out the one you saw just a little bit ago that I had disabled. Really, really good werewolf mod. As my character turns into a werewolf, you'll check that out later. Another one of my top 5. This is the dynamic camera. This is the one I said you had to get proper aiming. It even says over here to the right, if you adjust the camera on your bow, your shots are going to be off. And I kind of discovered this since, as you can see, in my gameplay, I fire some rounds and they're just nowhere near on target, or they're off target. I don't like using third person. I don't like using first person. I'm not really much of a first person type of guy. So a lot of times you're going to see me use third. Anywho, dynamic camera is freaking amazing. I highly recommend you check that out, as it really is, adds something else. You can kind of make your character your own. Bosmer Armor Pack. This is a pack that, along with the other two armor sets I have, feels, looks, everything 100% Skyrim, 100% authentic. And this is kind of why I put it in, the game. I want it to be included. Is whether I decide to use it or not, whether I decide to become, the Bosmer race or whatever. I said let's put it in here because the Bosmer of the game actually wear it, and it's very, very rich as far as the immersion goes. So I thought to myself, let's put it in there, let's make it happen. Wet and Cold, another excellent mod. When it rains really hard, the NPCs will go in, and when it snows really hard, you can't, if you're in a blizzard, you can't see, you have to look down, and it's just a really, really awesome mod. Wet and Cold coupled with True Storms just really is an excellent combination for me personally, as I tend to go more for, deep immersion. Not necessarily wanting to make anything realistic or super hard. Immersion wise, we feel that it's fantastic there. Moving on here. Weathered Road Signs, just another one of those little pieces of the puzzle we just kind of threw in there to see if it'll, kind of add something to the game. That's all we're about. Dogs of Skyrim, I had to turn that one off because the dogs will find you and they will bark nonstop. And my constant viewers know what a fan I am of dogs not barking nonstop. And last but not least, Open Cities. Wait, I don't think this is last. Open Cities, you open the door, you walk right in. It's fantastic. There's no load screens, nothing like that. You just open the door and get right in. You can ride your horse directly into the town. Now, for my character, I said I need to run something I've never ran before. I'm going to stick with it. I've done spellcasters before. I've ended up changing one of my Nord guys into a spellcaster, kind of transformed him. So what I decided to do was I said, you know what? I do these big, burly Nord guys. Let's do an elf. So I have high elf, a dark elf, or I have wood elf. I said, let's do a little wood elf. A little scrawny, weedy wood elf. And if you walk beside other characters, you will notice how much smaller he is than other ones. This is a level 1 Bosmer wood elf named Syndus Wraithborne. And I found that name on a random Bosmer name generator from Skyrim or Oblivion 1. At any rate, he's, nothing necessarily too amazing about him. We've got clothes on, we've got boots, and I think I ended up stealing those. I ended up using the bandit for my alternate start. I said I wanted to be a bandit, and that's what I was. I started in a bandit encampment, and I figured I'd better get out of there before they all kill me. I've got my bow, got my backpack, I'm all set to go adventuring. I've got a chopping axe there because, I feel I'm going to be making a lot of my own arrows. I've got plenty of arrows and a hunting bow. I have already kitted out a little bit. Now, as you can see, guys, I still am level 1. So, not a whole lot has gone on as far as the game. This is as close to the ground floor as you will ever see my character. Because a lot of times in the past, when I think of making a video, I'm already, level 60 or 70 and, have ended up power leveling so many of those and so on and so forth. So I said, let's go in here, let's do this nice and legit. So for this character, we're going to focus on, obviously, bow. We're going to focus on stealth because I don't necessarily want this character to be a tank, because that's what I've done with all my other characters. They've, first one into battle, they may sneak around and stuff, but first one into battle, let's just go in here and knock it out. So I want this gentleman to be sneaky. I want him to have some light armor. Obviously some smithing, because he's going to have to make his own stuff. And, you know, the better off he is, or the more experience he has making his own stuff, the better off he'll be, because that'll kind of get up there. So we've kind of got somebody here who has an idea where we're at. We're detected full on, and I don't have any backup. I don't have anybody to help me out here. So I'm kind of in trouble. I'm trying to put one in this skeleton, and he is just not having it. This is where I think I said, you know what, proper aiming needs to be here, because third person I'm firing away and I'm just not connecting. I'm not even really connecting with first person because I'm mainly missing a lot. We're going to go ahead, roll that body, take everything he's got, because you know what, at this point in the game we need the money. Now, we're going to go ahead and key up some healing here. Now, I'm no mage, but this is super better than, you know, drinking potions nonstop. So we're going to get back up in here, kind of creep up in here, and see what's going on. See if we can't find out what is the deal inside this little cave here, see if there's any more skeletons, and see if we can't go ahead and knock them down. It's really dark in here, and I don't have anything that kind of lets me see in the dark as of yet. A lot of times, you know, I end up becoming a vampire, or, you know, what have you, and I can see in the dark. Or, you know, you could, as far as I know, I think you can even start with a Khajiit and see in the dark. At any rate, and that's another race I've never played. I haven't, it's actually funny how many races I haven't played. Moving on. We took down that, I think we took down that gentleman, that skeleton there, just a second ago. We're going to go ahead and creep up in here and see what else is going on. You know, before, when I had these massive mage characters, I wouldn't even have to sneak anywhere. I would just have Detect Life. I could cast it infinitely, so I would just hold up Detect Life and say, nope, I don't see any body heat, and then I had Detect Dead in the other hand. I'd be like, okay, nothing is in this cave, I assure you. And then I would just run through it. And it's good, but it takes some of the mystery out of the game if you can just immediately go in there and blaze through everything. That's why I tend to like the early on stuff a little bit better here. I'm trying to debate on how to navigate this tripwire. I ended up hopping over it. Lucky for me, I didn't have a bumbling helper to fall through it. Gonna see if I can't try to put a round in him, and I'm gonna back up, and then boom, he gets hit by his own trap. So right on. Gonna go ahead and roll his body, and once again, I have a pretty stout carry ability already. But, you know, like I said, I don't necessarily agree with the fact that, you know, the pouches and the backpacks and whatnot should give you that much weight. I'm not necessarily a fan of it, but at the same time, I understand that if, you know, they were to give you 2.5, 3 pounds in game, it would be useless. You know, you'd say, oh, I can carry 15 apples in this pouch. Wow. It would be realistic, but it wouldn't be necessarily that useful. Anyway, moving on. We're going to go ahead and roll up here, check out the outside of this little area. At this point in the game, I have no idea dragons are about, so I feel pretty confident when I go up here that I'm not going to be swarmed by a dragon. That being said, there are a number of skeletons, so let's do what elves do and run away! Put a round in that gentleman's head right there. And, you know, I'm still, the further I get away, even though my aiming is a little off, the further I get away, I can still end up making contact with him. So, you know, I'm going through here and I'm just like, let's loot everything. We're early in the game. I need all the money I can get. We've still got somebody up here. You know, my bowmanship here is kind of horrible. Takes me a long time to draw. I can't move very fast. It just... everything about me is bad, but at the same time, we're still starting out. So, this is the Chronicles of Syndus Wraithborne when he's a youngster. We're going to go ahead and heal up a little bit here. And, let's roll this place, see what they've got in here, see if there's anything good. Not a whole lot going on. We do have a word wall. My wife calls these a word hole. I don't actually know. I have used that terminology so long. I don't know what they are really called. I think a word wall. I'm going to use word hole. So if I say a word hole from now on, you're going to know what I mean. Anyway, so we're just going to check around here, see what else they've got going on. And normally, I don't know why I'm having so many problems. Normally, they don't really have a whole lot of amazing stuff up here. Normally, after you kill the dragon, you get the treasure off him, and then you get his big treasure chest full of loot, which, either holds something semi-cool or something not cool at all. Yeah, there's not really a whole lot going on. So, there's a couple of little areas over here. We're going to check them out. We're going to pick a lock, see what we've got going on, and and exactly, there's not. We open it up and there's not really much of anything in there, but you know what, guys, we're starting out. I will take anything they offer me. Okay, guys, that's all I have for you today. Make sure to check out the further adventures of Syndus Wraithborne. Now, guys, I would like to apologize for not pumping out a lot of videos lately. I injured my eye splitting wood. Only I would do that. And I've kind of been down for the count the last 5 days or so, as it has been massively painful. But you know what? I am semi-better today. So hopefully we're going to see some more continued videos. Guys, hope you enjoyed. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share. We'll see you next time.